All right, so today's video is going to be going to go get this, not sure what year, I would estimate somewhere around like a 2004 Scag Turf Tiger 61-inch deck. Going to go get it for 700 bucks. It apparently runs and drives, cuts good, and after about 20 minutes, it starts to run rough. I'm hoping it's just needs the valves adjusted. He thinks it's a computer issue, so we'll get there and see him running home and get in the trailer real quick before somebody else goes and gets it. It's not too far. It's about 45 minutes from my house. So I don't know a whole lot about Scags, but apparently they're a good brand, commercial brand, I guess. So 700 bucks seems like a good deal. It does have 3,200 hours, so it's kind of high, but we'll figure it out. Got the trailer all loaded up, about to head out. Not too far. We'll see what it looks like when we get there. The old red truck. If y'all didn't see the video of getting this thing, got it for 2,300 bucks. Still doing good. No problems out of it. I fixed the rusted out leaf spring shackle. He's literally right by Tamaracks on High Rock Lake. Could have came down here on the boat, picked her up, floated it back home. Need to be out there right now. I picked it up. I didn't even haggle him down. The thing ain't even bad. I don't know anything about Scags. I've seen them plenty, but I never really paid attention. They're clutch drive, I guess, and water cooled. I didn't expect it to be water cooled, and it's also fuel injected. He said it's an 05. I was thinking it was around like an 04, which is kind of surprising to have fuel injection. With small engine stuff didn't have stuff like that until like 08 or so. But I guess I'm gonna try to make it back and show y'all it a little bit whenever I get back and test it out and see if we can figure out what this issue is. I mowed with it for probably like 5 minutes while I was there, and it didn't act up at all. It's got kind of a rough idle. It's fuel injected, so that's kind of not great to me, at least. I'd rather be carved. But here she is. Just went over there to my shop and greased up the deck and pumped some tires up, checked all the fluid. So I'm gonna do a little bit of mowing with it. Some grass to mow. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like anything's leaking. I guess we're just gonna have to see the issue it is. He says it's about 20 minutes of running and it starts to act up. I just replaced this battery terminal, so that was like you had to wiggle it to get it to crank. Maybe that was throwing the fuel injection stuff off. That's the problem. I don't know. Like I said, 3,274 hours. It's not in awful shape. The seat's got some cracks, as you can see. This thing's really comfortable, but it's belt drive. Can't see it in there, but it's got a clutch, and it's water cooled and fuel injected. All three things I didn't really expect out of a zero turn. Not one this old. Well, I guess it's not that old, but so I'm gonna test it out, get used to it, see if we can get it to act up, and then try to fix it. So it idles really smooth, but then you give it a little throttle, and up top it's smooth. It's just like quarter throttle, it kind of surges. You can see the governor in there. So we'll have to look into that. I don't know, I guess I'll just keep going with it and see how it goes. Alright, well, it's been way more than 20 minutes. Just mowed all of that. It does really good in big stuff, but on the small stuff, I guess since it's so dry, it just kind of misses spots and whatnot. This thing throws a shit ton of dust, but it seems to be running pretty good. I mean, the only thing I can think of, you know, hopefully it's just good now, but the only thing I can think of is that terminal was just jiggling loose. and causing it to throw the fuel injection crap off. I'm gonna keep mowing and see if we can get it to act up, or hopefully it's just good. But I mean, it's really fast. It's got plenty of power. It's fast. It handles good. It's just it's just way too dry right now, or else it'd be fun. It's kind of miserable right now, all the dust. It is starting to like cut out whenever you turn too sharp to the left, going on a hill. It's almost like it's starving for gas, just whenever the gas like sloshes to one side. But I really don't think that's it. It hasn't like shut off or anything. I'm gonna keep mowing with it, and then if it gets worse or whatever, take it back, adjust the valves, and do some research about it, see what I can figure out. I don't think it's the computer, because it sounds like a fuel problem, but then there's only one variable really, which would be sloshing to one side or whatever. If I can get it to do it on flat ground, then we might have something different. All right, so I'm about to adjust these valves, and they got kind of a weird system of doing it. It's like on a cam right in here, so all you do is loosen this nut and turn that, and it tightens it or loosens it. So, well, that's pretty cool. Here is the model number and serial number. So it looks like it's a 29 horsepower Kawasaki with DF5. I'm not sure if that's direct fuel injection or what does that stand for. But we'll look up the valve specs, adjust them, and go try it out again. If anybody is wondering, this is how I adjust valves. So this is your intake, that's your exhaust valve. You turn this over until your one or the other. I usually start with the exhaust first. Turn the engine over until your intake valve spring is compressed, so the valve's open. And then this one always will be loose. You don't have to go to top dead center or nothing like that. And then vice versa, you turn your exhaust until your exhaust valve's open. This one cannot be even close to touching because they can't be open at the same time. So you adjust this one while this one's closed, vice versa. No need to go to top dead center or nothing like that. It's just a waste of time. Next, I'm going to crank it up and spray around everything with starting fluid or brake clean in this case. See if there's an air leak, and if there is, take everything apart and figure out where. So no air leaks, but I just wiggled one of these wires right here. So I didn't do a very good job of filming and explaining this, but that blue connector right there is just a common butt connector, and it had corrosion and everything on it. So I took it apart, put a new connector on it, and that's all I did for that. And that might have been the issue. I'm not really sure. I did that, the valves, and everything all at once, and it seemed to mow fine for the rest of the time I mowed with. And that was all I really did to it. All right, so I just used it for probably an hour and a half to 2 hours of mowing. No issues at all. Not sure if the issue's still there or not. I don't really need this thing, so I'm just gonna sell it and put it on there for like 1,000 less or whatever they're actually worth. That way, whoever buys it, if the issue is there, that's not like they couldn't just fix it. It's not a bad mower. It would make somebody a great mower. You know, I wouldn't go start a business with it and mow all day long with it or whatever. I mean, it's getting pretty old, but it's not a bad mower at all. It's good for 700 bucks. I'm gonna make some money, and got to have a Scag. So that's pretty cool. So right after this, I posted it on Marketplace for $2,000 and listed the issues it had. And really the main issue with it was that under no load at anything above idle, it would surge like a pressure washer when you're not pulling the trigger. But once you put it under load or turn the deck on or anything like that or start moving, it would smooth right out and run fine. So I'm not sure if the issue of it ever shutting off was gonna happen or not. That's why I priced it for only $2,000. Around here, they're selling for like $3,000 pretty easily, even with the 3,200 hours it has, which were similar to the other ones for $3,000. I really didn't think this thing would sell as good as it did. I put it on there for $2,000, and within like 10 minutes, I had probably 50 messages, and I had a guy come get it pretty much right away. And by the time he got there, it was like an hour later, and had hundreds and hundreds of messages, people trying to come get it right then. And the guy came and got it, liked it, and gave me $2,000. So on this Scag, I pretty much made $1,300 minus like $20 in gas going to go get it, and didn't have to pay anything else. So that's pretty good for 5 hours of work. Most of it was pretty much just mowing. So, well, going to go get another Scag. It's a 48-inch walk behind, and it's not too far. I don't really know anything else about it. $400. Says it runs and cuts. That's the problem with the carburetor. So, just getting gas now. I picked it up for $280. Yeah, so $280, and it doesn't run right now. So we'll go back and see if we can make it run. The guy was pull starting it and could get the crank. It's in all right shape. It's missing some parts and whatnot, but I really only bought it just to finish out this video because the main Scag video part, it wasn't very long. So it's really the only reason I bought it, but it's not a bad little machine. Maybe somebody could use it for mowing inside a dog lot, or if I can't get my money back out of it or something, I'll just use it myself. Not a bad little machine. Let's see if we can get it running. Everything else seems to be all right on it. It has a striping kit on it, and not really sure what model it is, so I'll have to look it up from the VIN. All right, so here's the new Scag. Wasn't that good of a deal, $280, but it ain't bad. It's got the 14 horse Kawasaki on it. It does turn over. It does have compression. I'm about to check spark. No key, but it's just a mower key. I got those laying around. Everything else seems to be in decent shape. It's missing this cover there. But the problem is apparently that it leaks gas out of the bowl. And whenever I was there, he couldn't get it to run. So I'm guessing I'm gonna have to adjust the valves, clean the carb, and put a new plug in it maybe. But let me see if it has spark real quick. It does have spark. I'm going to just go ahead and adjust the valves while I'm got the plug out and everything, and then look up and make sure this is the right plug. Looks kind of not what I would expect the plug to be, but might be. So I'm gonna adjust the valves just because the guy said it's always been pain to start, and there's really no reason it should be, unless it was all just a carb problem, but it still might be. But we'll start with adjusting the valve since it's simple, and figure out if this is the right plug or not. So I got this valve cover off. I just looked it up. Apparently there's both intake and exhaust are supposed to be at 6 thou. So just like with the other engine, you turn it to one or the other while they're closed. Exhaust is fully closed right now, and intake is tight. So they definitely need adjusted, and that's probably why it never wants to crank, because there's no play at all on this. So I'm gonna adjust it real quick and then do the intake. So loosen this jam nut, just a little bit loose, and then this one is Allen in the middle. So you just turn the push rod one way or the other, or the whatever the push rod adjusts against. There's a bolt in this that adjusts clearance. So you just turn that in or out, and use your feeler gauge to set it right. So you want to go until there's just a little bit of tension on it. If you go too much, you can't move it out. If you go too little, you can put the next size up. So this is about right. There's just a little bit of tension on it. And I like to leave them just a little bit loose. That way, whenever they tighten up, it's you know, it's got a little bit more play. I'd rather be a little bit loose and a little bit tight. So, and now that the intake's done, wait till this top one, the intake one, is compressed. Well, I went past it. just like that. This one's compressed, and this one's really loose. Good grief. That's probably, actually, well, this is not good. So there's no spring retainer in there. Like this one, it's got the spring retainer. This one does not. So that's not great. So, I guess I'm gonna have to remove these rockers and try to find some spring retainers and actually adjust the valves right. The kid that I got it from had no idea what he's doing. He said he took it to his mechanic, but typically whenever they say that, they have no idea what they're doing, and it's never an actual mechanic. It's some retard that says they know what they're doing, clearly, because there's no spring retainers. And hopefully they forgot to put them in, which I don't know if that's any better than them getting ground up in the engine, but we'll see. Well, it looks like the spring retainer is just broke or something. I don't know what that is. See how that one sits flush? I don't know why this one's like that. Because there's supposed to be two halves, and that one's like one, like almost a C. So let me do some research and make sure this is not some stupid thing Kawasaki did, but I'm pretty sure that that's wrong, because I've never seen one like that and it looks broke to me. But let me just make sure, because this is, I mean, that's loose. Well, there you go. That's off. The valve seal wasn't even sealing. That's great. So, either this thing has like a built-in, I'm not sure if that's right or not. I've never seen one like that, but I guess it would kind of make sense. I don't know, let me look it up. Yeah, so according to the diagrams, this isn't right. This looks like it's off of a Predator 420, which is, this is a 420 Kawasaki. It's not the same, because at this point, it would, well, you can see there, this is the retainer for this exhaust valve, and then that's how it's supposed to be. It's got these two half keys, or half moon keys, and that's what retains it. And this just slides on there, as you've seen. But it wasn't getting it tight enough, because it's not compressing the spring at all. You shouldn't be able to pull that off by your hand, just with your hand, that easily. And yeah, so I'm gonna see if I can find, or if I have an engine laying around that's Kawasaki, and take the retainers and whatever else I need and throw them on this and see how it runs, because that was definitely a huge problem. Way too loose. The valve wouldn't open up all the way, and was probably causing fuel burning issues in the cylinder, because it wouldn't let all the exhaust out. And yeah, so that guy was an idiot, and this valve seal wasn't even on there good. So definitely got some tracking down to do. But so here's a little better view of it. This is how the intake one is, which is correct. You know, that's tight, you can't take that off. And this style is not what this needs. So I'm gonna call a few of my buddies, probably Gunner, Nima, nah, but I'll see if these common engine on riding mowers and whatever else. So if I can find this retaining clip here, or these retaining clips in this valve cap, I don't know what you'd call this, but this plate here and these little clips, we'll be in business, and we can address whatever else the idiot did wrong and fix it. Also, there's nothing wrong with this style. This is actually what I would prefer on a lawnmower engine. I wouldn't prefer it on anything that actually makes any power, but just for a regular lawnmower engine, I would rather have this for simplicity. But it's just, it won't work on this one, because the valve isn't short enough to where it would, or the valve ain't short enough and the spring ain't long enough, whichever way you look at it, to compress the spring and actually hold the valve back. So, well, as luck would have it, down here in the lawnmower scrap pile, look what lays there. FC420V Kawasaki. So I guess I'm gonna run back and grab some tools, come back down here and pull that off. So that worked out perfect. So before I go down there and pull that off, I don't have any spring. This is just a generic spring compressor from O'Reilly's. I've never used it, never needed to. The only other spring compressors I have is a homemade one, which requires the head to be off, and one like an LS style where you have to have stud bolts. So the only thing I can think of is on this one, I think I can get a bolt in the valve cover hole and use that to pry this down just enough to get these retainers out. So I'm gonna try that. Probably gonna practice it here to make sure before I go down there with a bunch of tools and I have to keep coming back and forth. And while I'm down there, I'm also gonna pull the carburetor off the other engine just to use it for parts up here, I guess, and that way I have to use less trips. So I'm gonna see if I can make this work. So it looks like this could work. Yeah, I think it'll work. It's pushing it a little bit. The only problem is I'm gonna have to figure out how to hold the valve back. Well, the carb's already off of this one, but that's all right. We can probably make the other one work. So I guess I'm gonna get these valve retainers off. Well, this one ain't the same either. I guess it's a different year. So I'm gonna go back and order the parts, I guess, online. All right, so I got the valve thing figured out, and I'm gonna go ahead and clean this carb up. It's been leaking. He said this is off of something else, so we'll see if we can clean it up and make it run. Got it apart. It's not too dirty, but the float is not closing, or the needle isn't closing all the way, so that's our gas leaking problem. And yeah, so I'll clean up the jets and adjust the carb right, and hopefully it works. Well, it really just needs a new carb. This carb, the guy's got the jet stripped out in there. This isn't why it needs a new carb, but this jet's a little bit messed up. It still should run fine on that. And the needle is dry, the rotor on the end of it's dry rotted, and it's not going to seal, but we should be able to still run it like this. Just turn the gas off when it's not running, just for now. Good enough. It's not great, so we'll throw it back together and see if we can get the fire off. And I don't think it's gonna be a carb problem that would prevent it from running, so we could at least hear it run and see if it's worth ordering some parts. So still leaking gas, as I suspected, but no big deal. It should be fine once it runs. So I just put gas in it. I didn't go get a new plug because I didn't want to drive all the way to the store. We'll see if it'll run on this one. Everything's on. I tried it. Let's see. Try full throttle. Choke. Well, it actually runs pretty good. I don't know if it's gonna fire that easy every time, but I reckon all there's left to do is to go try it out. It seemed to run pretty good. Tires could use some air. Yeah, I'm gonna go put all these tools away and then test it out. Check the oil, and it's fine. So might grease all these bearings up before I use it, but other than that, I'll just go test it. Runs just great. Can't get really much better than that. Deck engage is fine. Brake thing seems to work. we'll mow with it and see how it does. Well, it seems to run fine, other than a little bit of gas leaking out of it. I reckon it's good to go. All the brakes work on it. All the gears work. No major leaks besides gas. And it cuts just fine. I was planning on keeping this thing around and mowing with it every once in a while or whatever, but this thing sucks to use. It wouldn't be bad if you had like a big straight yard or something, but mowing around here, it's no good. I don't like how well, the only way to take it out of gear is to put your hand up here, but then you're still going. I mean, then you got to let go of one side of the bars and it goes one way or the other. It's not very safe in my opinion. I feel like it should be all brakes all the time with these undone, and whenever you pull it in, it should go this side should drive, and then vice versa with that side. But other than that, not a bad machine. I'll probably just post it up for sale for like $500 or something and just sell it as is. So I guess 2 Scags, not too bad of a video, I guess.
Tried to call you on the telephone, I didn't make it past 3 rings. I tried to think of the perfect things to say to you after the beat. Well, I'm sorry that I'm drunk, I'm sorry what I said, I'm sorry for anything I ever did. But you ain't called back, so I guess I'll get some sleep.